All right, y'all. Welcome to Books That Built Me, Authored Edition. I am Antasia Shabella Moore, and in this series, I'm diving into the pages I've written, the ones that shaped my healing. Okay, we all gotta do it. Hustle and higher calling. These aren't just books; they're pieces of my journey, my truth, and now yours. All right, we're in episode 6 of series 3. Series or season 3, however you want to say it. A-okay. And writing with boldness. Okay. And my author journey has definitely been revealing in so many different ways, though it's not even necessarily, so to speak. And I'm gonna unbutton a button. Here you go. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I am gonna have to kind of sort of let the dogs out, if you will. And please excuse my voice. I'm so hoarse. I know that's probably gonna sound really bad. So I have a cup of tea though close by. So if you do happen to see me moving over or whatever, it's a cup of tea right there. So I have to kind of make sure that we preserve our voice. And it is getting ready to turn into the fall season, and that's like our AKA, also known as cold and flu season. So I'm like double hit with a whammy. So this is actually my second cup of tea for the day so far. But we're going to get into the title of today's episode, which is Wrestling Words into Freedom. And that's definitely what it's been. Definitely been a battle. Definitely been a fight. I was at work and a girl, she's like, yeah, be safe out there. And I'm like, girl, I'm a good fighter. I don't be worried about nobody running up on me. Like, and I wasn't saying that to brag, but I was saying that to let you know, like, there's really no need to keep saying that. You know what I mean? I was watching The Purge the other day because I usually will tuck those movies away until I'm like really, really, really ready to celebrate and get into the season of Halloween and doing that type of whole idea and journey, because if I do not do that, I am not about to stress myself out about those movies. And so, since it's getting to that season, as you can see, fall or whatnot, I decided to go ahead on and actually bring those back out. And so, yeah, everybody is, of course, in a purge, getting ready to have their annual purge night. That's what the whole entire franchise is about, which is really good. I've seen all of them, I want to say. And this is the first purge that we actually have on the DVDs and things of that nature. And it was talking about how, they were getting ready to go into commence midnight. Probably it's like 6 o'clock or something that evening. This is for people who don't know what the film is. If you know, then you're going to kind of like, you connected to that? Oh my God. But yeah. And so they're like, everybody's saying, be safe, and, have a safe night, be safe tonight, you know what I mean, whatever. And it's sad because they actually ended up having to throw down, shoot a fair one, you know what I mean? And that just goes to show how you have to really wrestle your thoughts, your freedom, your wants, your choices, your decisions, your reality, your manifestations in order to make them real. Because there's so many forces that comes against us to deter those efforts. And it's sad because to deter their efforts means that you don't want them to be successful. You don't want them to win. You don't want them to live their lives successfully. You want them to find misery, and you're most likely going to experience a similar thought because that's what you want from somebody else. And when you have that realization there, it's like, wow, you really didn't want me to win for real. And it's sad, you know what I mean, to have such an understanding. It probably makes you feel lonely, as they say, is lonely at the top. And that's definitely where Napoleon Hill comes in at. He'll constantly make sure that we understand that that's a real concept. And they say that that's the feeling that they usually have is because they can sense the pressure that's on their shoulders alone for the benefit of something being successful or not. And that's why it's oftentimes considered a lonely feeling, a lonely position to hold. which I totally get. I'm totally in agreement with, because it is half the time I'm by myself. Most of the time I hate to use the word like I'm lonely. I don't have any friends or anything, because I have friends. They're just extremely few, and oftentimes because of that, it can definitely come across as being very lonely. And I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, like, what, you're so lonely. Like, I didn't say that I'm so lonely or whatever else. It's just definitely a ability there of understanding. So again, if anybody is like, man, I'm lonely, I feel you. I feel you, and I want you to know that I feel you here. Okay, so it's about clarity over here. Like, I get you. I totally understand. So I was almost, as my girlies say, not about to make this video, and I enter into the ranks of those who was struggling with uploads. Oh God, saying it so. And nonetheless, A was in the bathroom, just like, I'm not coming out, I'm not posting anything. Like, totally, season 3 is not going no further than episode 5. Like, bruh, I'm done. Like, I'm not even. So, y'all are so lucky that I'm actually recording. We're 6 minutes in. And we always gonna try to go at least, you know what I mean? I'm gonna try to cap it by 30 minutes. Just so you know, we on the same page. So you definitely are gonna have to learn how to wrestle and fight, for sure. And if anybody's scared, oh God, you gotta embrace that savage energy. You do. You have to manifest that Delulu. You got to go into straight beast mode, bro. Like, be unwilling to take no prisoners, bro. Like, it's on and popping. Like, and I know girlies who are so soft, they just you know, but you gotta find and strike that delicate balance. You really do. You really have to be and have to find yourself unafraid of striking it forcefully, because that's going to resonate your strength to other people, so that they can know what their proper role is in your life, because it's not for everybody. And sometimes people can weed themselves out, and we mistakenly think that it's us that's doing the weeding. They're doing it themselves. So I did hear that, I want to say from Steve Harvey, women who are practicing detachment, they do not weed out people. People weed themselves out of her life because she practices detachment. And that way she can sit back and observe who's really there for her and who's not. That's the power of detaching. So I just wanted to definitely clarify that. So yeah, you're definitely going to learn how to wrestle words into freedom, for sure. And words are unseen as well. So I just also want to be very mindful that sometimes you are fighting things that are unseen, and it looks as though it's like, what is you just shooting at the air? It's like you're seriously going into battle. So always suit up, always have your armor, always do your pre-stretches, your yoga, Pilates. You want to make sure that you are 10 toes down and are ready for the funk, whatever somebody's willing to come at you and throw your way. And so what we're going to focus on for a few minutes here is how my author journey actually went from idea to memoir, which was not easy. Because originally, books have been a part of my life all my life, ever since I've been a kid. My very first book I read was probably Harry Potter, front to cover. I wasn't even in 6th grade yet, and I didn't even realize that, which I just realized within these last few months, actually, and I'm now on 35, that those in particular were actually not geared to 6th graders. That book is geared to 9th and 10th graders. So I read this book from front to cover, and it was so good. Can I put it down? And that goes to show you the strength that I have when it comes to dealing with reading and writing. And so I'm a big believer in ideas and manifesting them. So the idea is originally, oh wow, I love books so much, this is crazy. And then I was like, oh wow, okay, how can I write a book? And so now I have an idea to write a book. And I have no idea how I'm going to make it. I have no clue as to where it's going to come from. I simply know that how can I write a book? That there's some kind of desire and idea to actually write a book. And from there, I've learned that a category from having seemingly pulled it out of thin air, basically, which is very difficult to do. I mean, how in the world is that confidence and creativity pulling from all of the things that I've been through in my author journey to actually realizing that the whole idea is placed not in horror, not in a rom-com, not in a historical fiction romance novel, but in a real live memoir. I had no idea that's what I was going to pick. I didn't. With full-blown chapters and different kind of poetry inserts, like no clue that this was something that, besides having the idea and to realize that it's now have a real live place and cart, is not for people who are easily deterred. And why did you say this? Well, again, how can you go from an idea that you held to actually making it manifestation? Now, you can tell me whether or not it's something that is for the faint of heart in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And I'm sincerely curious, and I hope that someone will share what their thoughts are. So a coaching that I really want us to focus into is stepping into presence through authorship, because people are so determined, and it's really sad. There's so many characters within this particular memoir that are just like a pain in my backside. And whether it's school, just a commute back and forth, and commutes are so intense most of the time. I've seen women get on highways and just utterly lose themselves. I've seen people just wrap themselves around trees. There is times where people just are yakking on the phone and you just look over in disgust, like you're not even paying attention to where I'm at and conjecture to what it is that you're driving. And I have to acknowledge that, and it's challenging, and sometimes it takes so long to even just continuously keep moving because all of these things have taken place, mind you. So again, authorship is not for everybody. Creativity is not for everybody. The science-minded people may not choose such an artistic route to express their scientific ideas and thoughts. And that's cool. I don't really believe it's an issue necessarily, so to speak. It becomes an issue when you use whatever gift that you have for ill. That's what I have ultimately an issue with. And then as you begin to choose yourself and you step into presence, this allows people to not only adhere to what it was that you've written, because it has to necessarily come well, I hate to say it like this, but it has to necessarily make sure that it's done in the light that reveals who you are, because people want to know your thoughts. And I'm not saying that everybody has a right to them. It takes a very particular person to actually have access to what it is that one sincerely thinks. Whether somebody likes this idea, whether somebody chooses to hate on this idea, whether somebody chooses to have something else to say about this idea, is ultimately non-relevant. Its relevance is minimal. When it comes to dealing with big ideas, people who think smallly are going to shrink back. People who are in the midst of people who think great things and they are so used to just settling for crumbs on the floor are going to shrink back from this type of entity. And they should. I don't think anything is wrong with that. If you're not going to step up to the plate and lead by what it is that they have set as an example, then you need to go to a different space so they can have the room to continuously show up for those people who do. So that's what it means to step into presence through authorship. That means really being able to focus in on what it was that took place, having the ideas that are really lined up, that reveal an authentic or true experience through a lens that our persona, myself, me, has sincerely been able to understand through fine-tooth combing. And that's really what authorship is, when you do so sincerely. So I want to leave you with a style prompt, which is dress like the author I am already. And for you all, for my ladies who may be aspiring to become authors, dress like the author you already are. What does that mean? Nice button, nice button up. You have to give certain energy. Your energy resonates with your authorship. This is done purposefully. You're an author. You're a published author. So it's not an acknowledged excuse. And trust, they coming. But it doesn't mean anything. And my authors, you know this. So as I think of this style prompt for myself, to give you an example, if I'm dressed like the author that I already am, then what I'll do is I'll make sure that I show up in a presentable manner each and every time. Whether it's within 10, 15, 20 minutes, that's all the time that I have. That's all the time that I need. So just find those moments where you can really hone in on what that particular thought means. Because really, that's something that you're going to have to do. All right, so thanks for spending time inside my story. Okay, so if this book spoke to your spirit, leave a comment. I love to hear what line lingered. And don't forget to subscribe, please and thank you, for more truths from the titles that built me. And remember, your voice belongs on the page